What's up, guys? Today I'm here to talk about video game consoles, in particular, video game console generations, and how we've started to pretty much lose the defining lines of each console in its respective era. And I think this was really felt with the PS5 release. I mean, we're getting close to it being like 6 years old now. And I think people would agree that it just doesn't really feel detached enough from the previous generation to have its own identity. Like the amount of games that are still coming out for previous generation, like the new Call of Duty this year is still releasing on old platforms. And it is to the point where you are like, okay, maybe the graphics are kind of like, we might be capping out, and it's obviously such diminishing returns at this point that they're still able to get like kind of, you know, wonky type ports on the old generation, so they're still putting it out. But just the fact that even without that, even if they weren't putting that stuff out on the old consoles yet, and it just doesn't feel distinct enough from previous generations. Like there's legit maybe like a handful of games that have stuck out to me that are like exclusive to the next generation. Obviously with PC it's like a little bit harder to judge, but at least with like the console releases, like PS5 has barely any games that feel like they're like exclusive and must-haves that have like made it that like you need to get a PS5. The biggest reason I got a PS5 is because my PS4 kept crashing when trying to play Apex with my friends, and then eventually I just got tired of it and got a new system because it was like that rampant of a problem. And that was like the biggest reason why I got a PS5. I ended up wanting to play Spider-Man 2 as well, but other than that game, I mean, there's a couple games I want to play, but I mean, nothing that I've felt the need to pick up at this point already with whatever I have in my backlog. I'm still kind of, chilling. Like Ghost of Tsushima, I want to play, but I'm fairly sure that was on PS4. Yeah, no, only the director cut. I think that's PS5 exclusive. And yeah, there's just nothing really convincing. Like if you're not like super hardcore into getting the best graphics or anything, that is like you need this system now. And the whole reason I even am making this video is because I saw a post, I think on Reddit maybe, and it was asking if anyone was feeling like the honeymoon phase come to an end with their Switch 2. And I gotta be real, I don't even know if I had a honeymoon phase with the Switch 2. I got that thing on release day. I'm not regretful of the purchase necessarily, especially with the tariffs and all that stuff, making it look like, it's going to be more expensive down the line. But, and I also know I am for sure going to want to play Legend ZA, which I'm pretty sure is also, that's for both systems, but obviously with the way Scarlet and Violet played, I'm good on that on the original. I'll play that on this system. But there's really no defining games or anything. I mean, even Mario Kart World, like that's like an exclusive game for the new system, and I feel like that kind of came and went as far as people talking about it. I mean, that's a game that I'll play every once in a while, but it's obviously like a very much more of a social game than other things are. So I think that it kind of suffered from that aspect of it. Like having Breath of the Wild at launch of Switch was huge, and like a giant like 60 plus hour game that could end up being hundreds of hours of playtime in. I think having something like that at launch would have been better. Like honestly, I think if they had Donkey Kong at launch, that would have been a better overall game to kind of get people excited about the system. Like not that people aren't even enjoying the Mario Kart. They are, but at the end of the day, Mario Kart's Mario Kart. I think I was a little disappointed. Just like they seem to be promising this huge scale. Maybe I was like looking too much into what they had shown, but like I feel like most people I know were a little disappointed with what limited stuff there was to do in like free roam and stuff like that. I just think there's a lot more potential for that game that they missed out on that did not have me going back for it, really. The only reason I would play it now is if I really wanted a Mario Kart fix or I have friends over and we're trying to, play something more social. But the that question being even posed and how I felt about it after seeing it made me want to make this video, as I said. And especially that, I mean, at least PS5 has a different like user interface. Basically, I mean, if you've ever seen a picture without labels showing you the Switch One and the Switch Two home screen, you'd be maybe hard pressed to be able to tell which one was which. That's how similar they are. And like I get it, like it's almost like a victim of its own success as far as like having refined things up until this point where it's like, yeah, I guess this works and there isn't really any a need for a different, user interface, but just making the system feel distinct from its predecessor, I think that helps out a lot. Maybe that's not the focus of the company, obviously, and to a degree, I somewhat get it. Just because if you look at all the what people were wanting online, like before the Switch, everyone was worried about Nintendo after the Wii U and the sales of that system. And with the Switch's success, everyone and their mom was saying, "Don't do anything different. Make a direct sequel to what clearly people like and enjoy, and just kind of maintain the peace with your fans." And that's exactly what they did. It may be a little bit too much though. Obviously, there's some upgrades and additional features that weren't on the first system, but by and large, it is the same thing with maybe a little bit extra power. Honestly, maybe not even as much as I thought that it was going to be. The amount of games that aren't coming or their performance on the system is like I see the specs and it's just still so much behind like the PS5 and Xbox counterparts that it's just kind of like, man, this thing really is not that much stronger. At least it's not the system's hardware isn't known enough for them to be able to make adequate ports as it felt like they were doing for Switch at the time. But let me know what you guys think. Are you also? I feel like this sense of fatigue, not even fatigue necessarily, but just like lack of excitement. Obviously, there's games here and there popping up. Silk Song's coming out. Hopefully, Legend ZA is really really good. But overall, the excitement around gaming has just been a lot sparser. And when it's there, don't it is there. Like Donkey Kong Bonanza. I feel like people were pretty hyped for that. But I don't know. Let me know what you guys think. Thanks for listening. Bye.